With all of the layoffs coming this year, it is hard to track which companies have been laying off. In this video, we're going to be going over the list of major companies that are laying off staff this year, and some of the big names include Porsche, Wayfair, Starbucks, and Meta. So with the recent rise of artificial intelligence, it is reshaping how some of the workforces are conducted. Many companies are favoring investing in AI technology and laying off employees in the process. Especially in the tech industry, we are seeing many companies go to automation in favor of cheaper labor. For tech jobs, layoffs are in record highs, and layoffs and other workforce reductions are continuing in 2025, following 2 years of significant job cuts across tech, media, finance, manufacturing, retail, and energy sectors. And as we mentioned earlier, this cost-cutting measure is because of technological changes. AI has been quickly developing, and many companies are realizing that they can replace many of their workers with automated solutions. So we're going to be going over major companies that are planning job cuts in 2024, 2025. So we have Adidas, and they're planning to cut up 500 jobs in their Germany's facility. This is going to be conducted at their headquarters, and it's going to impact 500 jobs. This accounts for a nearly 9% head reduction, and they have about 5,800 employees at their company headquarters. And even though the company had better than expected results, they are still laying off employees. They claim that they want long-term success, and by laying off staff, that is how they're going to reduce their operating costs. The next company is going to be Ally, which is cutting about 5% of its workforce. And this accounts to about 500 of its 11,000 employees. So they do say that they are reducing the workforce in some areas while continuing to hire for other areas of their business. So they're likely going to have a shift in the cloud and AI technology and reduce the workforce where things can be more automated by artificial intelligence. BlackRock is cutting 1% of its workforce, and this accounts for about 200 of its 21,000 strong workforce. Now, it seems weird that they laid off 200 people, but they are on a hiring spree and have actually hired 3,750 workers in 2025, another 2,000 to be expected to be added. So instead of moving people around in the company and allocating them to different divisions, they would rather lay off those employees and hire a completely new team. Next, we have Blue Origin, which is going to lay off 10% of its workforce, which could affect 1,000 employees. They claim it's going to scale their manufacturing output and launch Cadence with speed, decisiveness, and efficiency for their customers. This one is to be expected, but Boeing is cutting 400 roles from its Moon rocket launch program. And this is due to the rising costs related to NASA Artemis moon exploration missions. So 400 people are going to lose their jobs, unfortunately. BP has slashed 7,700 staff and contractor positions worldwide. This is a lot of jobs being cut, and it's going to be 4,700 staff positions as well as 3,000 contractors, which amounts to 5% of its workforce. Bridgewater is cutting 90 positions. And even though 90 positions doesn't seem like a lot, it is 7% of their workforce. Chevron is having a massive layoff at 20% of its global headcount. Chevron is an oil giant, and they plan to cull 15 to 20% of its global workforce by the end of 2026. This means that 4,500-600 people who were recently employed in December of 2023 could lose their jobs. 9,000 jobs are set to be cut. CNN is planning to cut 200 jobs, and this cut amounts to about 6% of the company's workforce. HP is laying off 2,500 employees, which is about 5% of its employee base, and they are set to take place over the next year and a half. Johns Hopkins University is going to be laying off over 2,000 jobs after they lost $800 million in funding from USAID. Kohl's is reducing its workforce by about 10%. This is to increase efficiencies and improve profitability for the long-term health and benefit of the business. Meta is cutting 5% of its workforce. Now, even though Meta stock has been on a roll, Mark Zuckerberg told staff he's going to decide to raise the bar on performance management and will act quickly to move out low performers. Microchip Technology is slashing 2,000 jobs. They are set to cut 2,000 jobs on March 3rd. Microsoft has laid off many people back in January based on performance-based job cuts. And the worst of all is those workers were told that they wouldn't receive any severance and that their benefits, such as medical insurance, would stop immediately. This is a huge cut to these employees, and they are going to be struggling for their next position. Porsche is cutting almost 4,000 jobs over the next few years. About 2,000 of these reductions will come from the expiration of fixed-term contractor positions. And then they will lay off another 1,900 people by 2029. Salesforce is cutting more than 1,000 jobs. They have about 73,000 employees employed worldwide. Sonos will cut about 200 jobs. And this is an announcement that came nearly a month after Sonos CEO Patrick Spence stepped down from his position following a disastrous app rollout. So this new CEO came in and is going to roll out some layoffs. Southwest Airlines is going to be laying off about 15% of its corporate staff, which is about 1,750 people. Starbucks is going to lay off 1,100 corporate staff. CEO Brian Nichols said in a memo that the layoffs will make Starbucks operate more efficiently, increase accountability, reduce complexity, and drive better integration. Stripe is going to lay off 300 employees, and this is going to be in product and engineering and operations. The Washington Post is going to cut 4% of its non-newsroom workforce. This is going to be about 100 employees in an effort to reduce costs. Wayfair is laying off 340 tech employees. And they filed this on March 7 that it's going to eliminate its Austin Technology Development Center and lay off 340 tech workers. Workday is going to cut 8% of its workforce. And this is about 1,750 employees who are going to lose their positions. So it's very unfortunate that a lot of people are losing their jobs in 2025, especially since 2023 and 2024 were also not great for a lot of people for job security. If you are currently employed, the best thing to do is to have an additional source of income, whether that be from dividend stocks or a side business. That way, if you do lose your 9-to-5 job, you have at least some cushion keeping you afloat, especially since this economy is very tough for a lot of people with the rising costs of expenses.